Bradley, West Virginia, by Beckley, and went to your yard, and I saw all the pipe that it takes to finish. I saw 20 miles of pipe, and it'll hopefully start going out to the sites pretty soon. But so for all the people that are concerned, that did it go through all of the necessary reviews? Absolutely. It went through more reviews than anything has been reviewed at this extent, I think, in the country. So we renamed the Mountain Valley Pipeline to the most valuable pipeline in America. And I think so. When you look at a 42-inch line, there's not that many 42-inch lines in the country that I know of. Most of them, 36 is about the largest we've seen for a long time. 42 means we have an awful lot of supply to, and a lot of supply gas from our great state. But we can help our friends and neighbors throughout the southeast that really are in dire need. A lot of the senators were I think, surprised when I told them about the shortages that happened down in the Carolinas. During the last storms that we had, the winter storms, they were paying anywhere from $50 to $60 an MCF for the shortages of gas, and we're paying maybe $4, $5, or $6 an MCF for the shortages of gas, and we're paying maybe $4, $5, or $6 at our height. And to have people paying 10 times more, being that close in the greatest country on earth, having a tremendous supply next door, and we couldn't get it to them. It's just criminal. So we're going to cure that. But I've been very proud to be involved in understanding more. I got involved with Tom. He can tell the story better than I can, but I said, we got to do something. When Atlantic Coast Pipeline went down, I worked with Tom Farrell for a long time with what was the name? Dominion Energy. And God rest his soul, Tom passed away not long after. They just finally gave up. He said, Joe, I think he had $7 billion involved in that process today when they pulled out, something like that. He just says, we just can't, I have no answers. I don't think we could ever get through. The permitting process wore him out to the point, literally and figuratively, but he pulled the plug on it. And they just believe that they can do that. And it keeps going back to the agencies. The debt ceiling that we passed has some permitting reform in there. It's going to help us an awful lot. It's just streamlining, not as much as we want to be done, not as much as we think we can do. But it was a good start, real good start. And I think it showed a lot of confidence into the system and the markets right now. But anyway, the debt ceiling we averted a shutdown there, which was a default, and that was never going to happen. And the way we did it was done in, I think, the most professional fashion. First of all, when you had Kevin McCarthy on the Republican side of the House did his job, and he did something that I think they didn't think could happen. He sent it back. He said, we have a piece of legislation. He sent it to the Senate. At that time, then the president decided to sit down again. I think that got the ball moving again. I wish they would have started 3 months ago, 3 months ago, 90 days. But I'm just glad they did what they did. And that's the way the process is supposed to work. Democracy works when both sides have different points of view, can come together and coalesce around one and come out with it. So when you have the extreme left and the extreme right, which you've seen, were not supportive, but you had the middle, and that's where this country is, in the moderate middle, that was able to step forward. They were able to pass it on the House side almost equally with as many Democrats as Republicans. I haven't seen that happen. I've been there 12 years. First time in 12 years I've seen crossing over. Ever since Dennis Hastert was Speaker, they tried to do the purity test. So if Republicans were in control, you had to have 218 Republicans, or you didn't even bring it to the floor. If Democrats were in control, you had to have 218 Democrats, didn't come to the floor. That's not the way it used to work. It's not the way Tip O'Neill and Ronald Reagan and them used to do business. You brought like-minded, valued people together. You're always going to have the extremes. So they had about 150, 160 of each Democrat and Republican passed it. We passed it with 63 senators last night with Democrats and Republicans. And I was just very proud of the process. You know, you can sit back and bellyache it took too long, but the bottom line is we sent a message to the world that the United States is not only, the democracy is not only alive and well, that it still works. If you have the stamina for it, it'll work. and we did. So to say America's energy is the most valuable thing we have, if we're not energy independent, then we're not a superpower. And if you have the resources, which we do, and you don't use them, then shame on you. And if you ask someone else to do something you don't want to do, then you're not a leader. And that's how I looked at the whole thing from day one. Since the Ukrainian war started, what Putin did to the Ukrainians, what he did to Europe, and what the United States was not prepared at that time to step in and help our allies around the world. And we had to step in and do that because they're going to find relief somewhere. So I think we've got a good piece of legislation. I'm proud of everybody that works so hard. The Mountain Valley Pipeline, it's part of a broader bipartisan deal, as you've seen. But the bottom line is it was the crux that's basically everything got to high drama last night around 10:30. And people were doing different things, switching votes back and forth, voting yes, voting no. That was going back and forth. And we had enough backup. We had enough reserves. I was not worried about getting it done. I knew it would get done. We finished with 69 votes. But there was just, the jockeying goes back and forth, and you have to understand the process. So some people that voted that were maybe voting more on the environmental end of it, didn't want to upset anybody. They basically waited, and we had the reserves that we needed if it would have taken that, but it didn't. So with the Democrats and Republicans voting last night with 69, I was very proud of that. And everybody did a great job. I said Carol Miller over on the Congresswoman Miller on the House side, she was committed and she worked hard over on that. Shelley Moore Capito, my colleague on the Senate side, has been there from day one working with me. I happen to be in a position where when we brought it to fruition and brought it more than a year ago, it was part of the original package. Everyone thinks there was two different bills that we came in and we did two different bills. We didn't. We had one bill called the Inflation Reduction Act, and that was based around energy security. You can't have energy security and you can't be able to produce the energy you need unless you have permitting reform. Permitting reform was part of the original bill. Mountain Valley Pipeline was part of the original bill. It was not a set-aside. It was not a separate. Well, you vote for this and I'll do this. You can't have energy security if you don't have the one product, which is the largest pipeline that would have been putting more product in the market quicker than anything in the world, in the country. And it was not part of it. So someone said, well, you pick Mountain Valley because that's your home area. I said, well, that might have been part of it. I said, but I can tell you, Mountain Valley Pipeline picked its own sense because it had 94% completion, 2 billion cubic feet a day, within 6 months in the market that desperately needs. I don't care where this was, it should have been done. So that's what they were all part of the first original package. Then, because of the rules of the Senate, it got split apart. That's how they start saying the deal here and the deal there. But I will say this. The president kept his word. He gave us his support all the way through, as much as he could. It was just only so much they can do and intervene. You can only tell your agency so many things, but we've accelerated things. Things were starting to pick up. They were accelerating going through the process. Tom can laminate on that. We're in the best position right now, and they fulfilled it. This would not have happened if our Republican friends had not come to the table. But Republicans had always been big supporters of permitting. Democrats have very seldom ever. On major reforms, I'm the only Democrat that would vote for a major permitting reform. So to have this happen, and the president put his stamp of approval on it, to have the Secretary of Energy, Jennifer Granholm, basically write a letter of support as a national interest, that's big. I'll give you 3 instances where something, the tactics that we used and how we got this done has only been done a couple times in the history of our country. But the most recent was when in 1973, the Alaskan pipeline. It could have never gotten through. It would have never gotten through. And that was Ted Stevens. He found the opportunity, and when you find the vehicle and opportunity to do it, they got it done. The next one was 1979 was Howard Baker. Howard Baker wanted the dam for the TVA. He had to have that dam for the TVA. Couldn't get it done. Would have never got it done. The regular order. He tried everything he could. He finally found the vehicle and did it. And then Mountain Valley Pipeline found the vehicle and did it. So we're in kind of historical position right now, but I can tell you the country's going to be much better off for it. Reliability in the system is going to be much better off for it. And the citizens. And a lot of the indirect benefits are going to be, a lot of the indirect benefits are going to be to our military bases. The Carolinas are hurting. I talked to Lynn Good, who's the head of Duke Energy. She has 4.5 million customers. She said, Joe, you don't know how desperate I need this. I said, my people should not be left in a desert as far as energy deserts. And she says, we've got to have this product on the market. So we're happy to help all of them. And hopefully we'll be able to help the LNG too, to where that's going over to our allies overseas. So I'm very proud of that. And what we'll do is just go around the table. I'm thankful that you all came on such short notice. But like I said before, this is a good short trip. David had put him off the course. He had to come, I understand. So Tom, why don't you take it and go into what you've seen?
Thank you, Senator. Thank you all for coming today. I'm the chairman and CEO of Equitrans Midstream. We are the developer, operator, and the largest partner of Mountain Valley Pipeline. And our mandate as a midstream company, as a natural gas infrastructure company, is to transport natural gas where it's produced to where it's needed and will be consumed. So this is the absolute perfect example of taking 2 billion cubic feet a day of capacity and supply from the Marcellus Shale, where companies like Antero and EQT and others produce some of the least methane intensive, cleanest natural gas in this nation. Transported 300 plus miles to North Carolina, South Carolina, further south, where the demand for both reliability and affordability is continuing to grow. So while the media and the market talk about transitioning away into renewable energy, that's true. But the absolute demand for natural gas will continue to increase for the next, that's true. But the absolute demand for natural gas will continue to increase for the next 20 to 30 years. So Mountain Valley Pipeline is essential to allow for continued production in the Marcellus Shale and to continually provide reliability and affordability to those millions of customers that the Senator talked about. The Senator characteristically is being modest about how we got here today. Mountain Valley Pipeline has just withstood 100 months of environmental scrutiny. We are on our third round of federal and state agency permits, to the point where we would go through one round, get fully permitted and authorized to proceed, spend $1 billion or $2 billion constructing, and then our opponents would be successful in the Fourth Circuit to have our previously issued permits vacated. Then we would have to spend another year to go back and get the permits reissued. As the Senator said, we're 94% complete. The sad news is when this project was first brought to the board, the budget was $3.5 billion. When we finish, hopefully late this year, December, January, the cost will be almost $7 billion, $6.6 billion, all due to the delay caused by never-ending litigation. I heard a term, it's like the judicial hellhole. And it wasn't until last night that we've been extricated from that. One other point I'd like to make, and I'll let others speak, and I'm happy to answer any questions later. Far be it from me to disagree with Senator Manchin. However, I have to. In this fact sheet that has been distributed, they talk about the first time that he did something as being February 8, 2022. That's not accurate. Because prior to that, 9 days prior to that, the Fourth Circuit vacated our most recent round of permits. And my cell phone rang, I had no caller ID on it. I picked up the phone, and he said, "Hi, this is Joe Manchin. Tell me about how this happened. Educate me about this. This doesn't seem right." And it was from that phone call on that everything escalated to where Senator Manchin is going back to his old glory days as a football player. He took up the mantle as quarterback. He drew up the play and was relentless and tireless up until last night to execute successfully on that play. We could not be more grateful. All of those customers in those states should be grateful. West Virginia should be grateful. The Mountain Valley Pipeline, once it starts to flow gas, will pay approximately $50 million a year in ad valorem taxes to the state of West Virginia. Royalty payments to landowners will approximate $200 million a year. That's real money. It's real money that should have been flowing 4 years ago by the end of 2018 when the project was scheduled to be completed. Were it not for Senator Manchin, and yes, for Senator Capito, for Representative Carol Miller, for Guy Rethenschall, for Representative John Joyce, for Speaker McCarthy, we wouldn't be here today. But again, make no mistake. The quarterback of this team was Senator Joe Manchin. Thank you very much.
One thing I want to mention next time you spoke about that. You cannot start a project unless you have a market for it. You can't get an audience. So he has to go to FERC determines, is there a need? Is there a market people? Is there we have a customer who wants this product? That went through that process three times for FERC. And every time FERC identified the desperate need for this product. The gas was West Virginia. And yet it took still 8 years. That's ridiculous. Let's start around. Charlie, start up this side. Right down. Everyone knows what you think this is going to do. How to fix our state.
Senator, thank you very much for everything. You've done so much. It's very hard to put words, but you are the quarterback. We've established that long ago, and we couldn't be more proud to have you as our senior senator. I would say the oil and gas business is ran a pipeline around the customers get a good product, and that's what this means. It means jobs. Tom referred to the ad valorem taxes, 2 BCF a day. That has to come from someplace that needs to separate taxes, other taxes. Commitments to ball teams, small communities, things like just it ripples down where this is huge, more than huge. And thank you so much for everything done. This pipeline starts in West County, so however feedstock comes in, that entry point small producers. And that is where it starts. And it's that's the hard West Virginia, West County, and all started a few years ago and got on. And we have waited with sweetest patience for this day. Great. Senator, thank you for having us. I think one of the things that I observed of Greg earlier was about energy. I think one of the things that I observed as I see you and Tom talking is, and I've been around my project. I think I came to see you very early. And all the hard work of folks that put the pipes in the ground as of today are seeing this come to fruition. And I think that is a big testament to your vision and making sure this thing gets across the finish line. And I think from an economic development standpoint, industry standpoint, this guy can commit, and this is the ability to raise ships high and have gas certainly with that. So I think
industry. I know the industry changed you as delegation has supported this. I think we have things to come.
Parker, the operating engineers are one thing to set before, we're very glad Alaska has passed. We've got thousands of construction work ready to go back to work. But worked on that project before. When the tree goes, the construction worker sees the end project, they want to complete now. That'll be over that, thanks to you and a couple others. But we really appreciate it. We've got thousands of guys just waiting to work out also. So thank you.
That pretty much answers your,
We'll be folks. We'll bring more.
That's great.
My name is David Weatherworth. I'm a firefighter in 1998. I represent the journeyman on pipeline jobs, with crafts jobs. You have teamsters, operators, laborers, and us. And we're the ones that weld the pipe together. We do. That's what I used to do. I got this job. But I want to thank Joe. I'm not fighting aggravating me. I'm the guy that the workers call every week. What's going on with MVP? And it's been 5 winters of what we haven't had on this project since 2020. Now the cleanup crews, they're working, the welders aren't there. So and middle of 2018, we had 8,500 members. I cover next lane. I'm in Virginia Domain, east side of the river, and there's about 1,000 of us that do this for a living in the Northeast, and then about 400 that are living in the Northeast, and then about 450 in West Virginia, probably about 500 in Pennsylvania. So that's the word of work is where people live. So we're at 8,500 members in 2018. We're down to 6,000. This has really hurt us. But like Joe said, this is going to provide certainty. It's going to provide energy independence. We're pretty grateful for West Virginia, the country, the precedent that we're all worried about being set, not being set. And I want to say thank you so much. Love you. Appreciate it. And I'm going to let the next person talk.
I'm Jonathan Adler, the Executive Director of West Virginia Association of County Officials. And I don't know if I can top what Dave just said, but I do want to keep the sports theme and just say, Senator, thank you for hitting another home run for West Virginia. This certainly has done this, and it's a great week for America, and it's going to be important for our local economies, local governments, the counties that the pipeline will run through. But also, I think all of West Virginia, because you're helping us maintain our standing as an energy leader, not only nationally, around the world. And economic opportunities this will afford. Certainly, it's boundless. And thank you for your energy and your foresight and your